let's get into finding affiliates. The number one thing about finding affiliates, I remember this was a huge stinking point for me. I said stinking point. I meant to say sticking point. Point I got stuck on was in the beginning, creating a product wasn't an issue for me. I created a number of different reports and what I consider to be ebooks or valuable reports earlier on in my entrepreneurial marketing days, online business days, whatever. And then I didn't know where to go next. There was a lot of steps. I even remember putting a couple things up on ClickBank, but then no ClickBank vendors came knocking on my door, and I was thinking, what's going on? Why is nobody demanding to promote this awesome thing? I mean, I think it's awesome. The sales page looks great. Nobody even knows about me, and that was the key. That was the key thing. Is it's who you know. Finding affiliates, getting people to promote your products is like any other business in the world. It's not so much what you know or how good your products are or any of that stuff. It's who you know, who are you connected to. And if nothing else, at the end of this webinar, if you can walk away with one of the main messages being that you need to expand your network, that's going to and connect with people that are of a like mind, that are similar business to you, that sell similar products to you, that may even be part of your customer base. That is something you absolutely must do, as far as I'm concerned, if you want to succeed in any kind of business. And that's going to solve a lot more than just your affiliate recruiting problems. Who you know can solve everything. It can solve your staffing and resourcing problems. It can help you get questions answered. I mean, just going into the Skype group that we've created for Prod Create, I've talked to pretty much everybody in there, and I'm sure many of you have networked. You can already see that there's people who can give you the answers to questions that you're struggling with right now, and vice versa. You can help them with questions they may be struggling with. And that's just a tiny little Skype group with maybe 30 or 40 of us. I can't remember the exact number. So who you know is going to be everything. But the question is, how do you expand who you know? And more importantly, how do you get people to know who you are and actually make that stick so that it benefits you and it benefits them to knowing you? So I'm going to assume that you've already done some networking. If you haven't, then this is going to be a pretty deep lesson for you. But any kind of networking that you do, even if it's not specifically in the online world, is a good thing. So before I knew who to meet and where to meet people, just going to local chamber of commerce and BNI type of local meetup groups types of things worked really, really well, because it just gave me a chance to meet other business owners, even if they weren't doing anything like me. Like just sitting down and chatting, as an example, with somebody who was starting up their own massage therapy practice was pretty helpful for me, because I got to at least talk to another business owner who was struggling with some of the same things as me. They didn't know where to get their marketing. They were trying to raise funds to keep everything afloat. But not only that, it turned out to be a mutually beneficial relationship. I've referred clients to massage therapists or any other business, and vice versa. Things to do with the web, the massage therapists, they don't know much about internet marketing or online business. They just think websites and they think of me. Well, that's not necessarily a bad thing for me. So the number one way to meet people, or to really find affiliates in terms of fulfilling this who you know question, is to meet in person. So there's earlier Chad piped up and said woohoo. Well, Chad's a great person to talk to about this, because he runs meetup groups. He's got a huge group of freelancers, and they get together and actually shake hands and see each other in person, which is mind-boggling to some people who want to run an online business, because they just want to stay at home in their pajamas all day long and not have to do that. But at the end of the day, when you meet somebody in person, it creates the type of connection that you really can't simulate, at least in my opinion. I'm thinking sort of out loud here as I explain this. But all the people I've met that have become affiliates, the best ones are the people that I've met in person, either before we promoted each other or after. But once we met in person, there was a certain level of connection that happens. I'm sure everybody right now is probably nodding their head and agreeing with me that once you meet somebody in person, there is something there. I don't know what it is, can't put my finger on it, but it goes beyond even if you have a face-to-face over Skype. It's that in-person meeting that really helps. So for me, a huge first step, and I'm talking specifically about my PLR business right now, a huge first step for me in terms of taking my income from really minuscule levels to my first major leap in income was the first event I went to, which was let me make sure I get this right. It was 2011, right around this time, actually, June. So 3 years ago, is that 3 years ago? 2011, 2012? Yeah. Gonna count that out loud. It was June 2011. I went to a Warrior Forum event. This was just organized by people who were members of the Warrior Forum. It was in Raleigh, North Carolina, and this was shortly after I had launched my PLR business. I'm going to say maybe 8 months after we first started our PLR business. I went to this event, and it was really, really eye-opening from two perspectives. One, I got to see other speakers, people who were way further down the road than me, way more successful. I got to see them speak and share things that I just didn't know. So just getting education was huge. But the bigger piece was obviously meeting all these other people who also happened to be peers and customers, but more importantly, peers, people that were also creating products. Some of them were PLR vendors, some of them were other marketers, some of them were coaches, consultants, affiliate marketers, speakers, authors, you name it. I got a chance to rub shoulders, meet, have drinks with, have dinner with people that had lists, that had customers. And they got a chance to see me in person, see that I was the real deal. And I'm just going to pause really quickly because there was a question coming in. And it's just Chad being really supportive. So thank you, Chad. But I'm going to tell you that this was probably, if I were to kind of go back over my first 4 years as a digital product creator with Best Quality PLR and some of the other stuff I've been doing, if there were some pivotal moments that if I had to pick like on one hand what some pivotal moments were for me that launched my income from one level to the next, it was that going to that event. It was huge. And it was also kind of cool in terms of developing a little bit of self-confidence and self-belief, because what happened was, when I went to that event, I went there not really knowing what to expect or who was going to be there. And when I got there and I started mingling around, what I realized that there was a whole ton of people who had already bought my PLR, just little packages that I had been offering on the Warrior Forum. And that a lot of these people, even though I didn't believe so, perceived me to be an expert. They thought I was this guru digital product vendor because I had put out, I don't know, a handful of products on the Warrior Forum. I'm going to say at the time that I went to that event, maybe I had done 10 PLR launches, which to me wasn't that many, considering they were just like, there was no upsells. It was just like a single ebook with some graphics or whatever. But it gave me a new perspective on what my reality or my perceived reality was, that a bunch of people suddenly, in their minds, gave me this authority status that I hadn't given myself permission to claim in my own mind, because I was just living in my own world. I was sitting at home, working from my basement, building these PLR offers with my business partner, Ted, and, making some money, but it's not like we were, making bank and running away with boatloads of cash and driving down the road with bills flying out the window. It wasn't anything like that, but it was enough to get our business going, and we were excited about some of the advances we were making. But I certainly had no idea that people perceived me to be a product creation expert. They saw me as somebody that they respected, they followed, they admired. And so just getting out and meeting people in person gave me that kind of validation as well. So I'm kind of giving you a bunch of benefits here of why you want to go to events, or events, or even just meetups, kind of things like Chad runs, where you can get out, rub shoulders, meet people, because you're going to get all these additional things happening. Again, number one benefit is you get to meet people in person, and there's a certain connection that happens that will never ever happen digitally or over the phone. That in-person connection cannot be beat. The second thing is the amount of learning that's going to happen. Kind of a quick side tip here, networking 101 tip. This drives me mental when I go to events and I meet people who are like this. That you talk to them and they kind of do what I'm doing right now, which is they hog all the time talking. Now, it's okay for me to do it right now because you expect it. You're on a webinar, your mic doesn't work, so you pretty much have to listen to me, or you can log off, one or the other. But that's expected. You're expected to sit here listening to me chat. But you don't expect, when you go to an event, to the other person to spend all of their time telling you all about them. You want a little bit of back and forth. You want your chance to talk and share as well. So make sure you're not that guy or that girl. Don't introduce yourself to somebody and then spend all of your time telling people why you're so awesome and all the problems you're facing and all the challenges you have and this and that. Spend most of your time listening, actually, if you can, and asking a lot of questions. When I go to networking events, people actually think I'm introverted and shy, and it's not the case at all. For those of you that know me, definitely not shy and introverted, but it's because I make a point of not talking so much. I learn more from other people, and how am I going to learn if I open my big yapper the whole time to talk? So that's my little sort of side tip to you. And Chad's saying that seeing in person. Another reason it's critical to have a video on your JV page that shows you're a real person / personality. Excellent point. Anything you can do to simulate that realness of you is huge. So, and we're going to get into that. Actually, I have later on one of my slides is the anatomy of a JV page. And I don't always do JV videos, but a lot of my affiliates now know who I am. But in the earlier phases, I did. So, great point there, Chad. So let me go back to the slide here. So make it a point right now, after this webinar, take a look at your calendar and take a look at some of the events that are on tap in your niche, in your industry. And if you don't know what they are, then find something closely related, even if it's something minor like a meetup group of people that deal with whatever it is you deal with. I remember going to meetup.com once and finding a group in a town maybe 30 minutes away from me who were all sort of like self-help, self-development enthusiasts. They didn't necessarily have a business. They just liked consuming that kind of content. And they got together. I mean, I'm a consumer of that material as much as I am a producer of it. So that would have been a great place for me to go and hang out with people. I wouldn't necessarily be able to sell them anything or recruit affiliates, but there's still an opportunity for me to network. So you could do that. You could go to meetup.com and look around. I'm sure, Chad, if you want to pipe into the Facebook group later on or Skype group, I'm sure Chad will have a ton of tips for you on where to find good meetups and stuff like that. He's really rocking it. I'm hoping he does a power session for us one day on Meetup. But also look for things like marketing conferences. So for me, that Warrior event was perfect for me because I was doing a lot of my PLR launches on the Warrior Forum. This is before I did a lot of my own self-hosted stuff. And so it made a lot of sense for me to go to the Warrior Forum event because there were clients and there were customers all at the same event. So make a point of doing that, and as soon as possible, get to an event. Now, again, if your funds are tight, then I totally get that. I'm not going to be one of those business people or authors that tells you to just go find the money, because let's face it, if you don't have the money, then you can't go to the event. So you can raise the money, but in some cases you might need to just start somewhere small, like a local event that maybe is $25 cover charge to get in. Start there. If you can raise the funds, like creating a product following the Prod Create system and raise a few $100s to go to a major event, then I'd suggest doing that because you're going to get more bang for your buck. And mix it up a little bit. I went to that Warrior event, but I also speak at a lot of events now. So speaking at events is pretty good for getting your name out there. But I went to NAMS. I'm sure some of you who follow me know about that NAMS event, and I know some of you even went there. That's a great event. You can meet all kinds of people who are like a lot of us in Prod Create, digital product creator type of people across different niches, but online business owners in general. So there's a good event you can go to. I also went to a totally high-end event, one of Brenda Burchard's big events called 10X Publishing. And one of my clients actually invited me. It was, I think it was like $10,000 a head to get in, or $10,000 for a pair. So you can range anywhere from like these free events where you can rub shoulders with people right up to the big time ones. And they all have their own value. In fact, I would say the ones that were the lower cost were almost, as good value, sometimes even better, because the networking was better than the Brenda Burchard one, where we didn't spend a lot of time networking. It was mostly learning. So keep all that in mind. And I'm kind of getting a little bit long-winded here on the events point, so I'm going to move on. My main thing is get to an event and do it as soon as you possibly can, and keep doing it because you need to expand your network. Donald's saying he's going to his first NAMS in August. I think there's a couple other people on the call as well, and at least going to be watching the recording, that are also going, Donald. So make sure that you go into the Facebook group and post that so you can connect with other prod creators who are down there. It'd be good for you to connect with them. So yeah, make sure you get to an event. Now, the way number two, or the second, I don't know why I'm putting number two ways. So silly to me. But the number two way that you're going to find affiliates is to get introduced. So this is something I try to do for all of you who have joined Prod Create, is I'm doing my very best to connect you as my client with other clients or just other people that I know, right? So as an example, Corey Lewis joined. He's the latest person who joined Prod Create. He posted in the Facebook group last night, and he's doing health and fitness stuff. I have a call with him tomorrow, but I already have a few people in mind that I want to introduce him to that deal with specifically with health and fitness style products and launches and stuff like that. That's going to be way more powerful than him trying to get those people on his own, right? So the more you expand your network and let people know about what you do, and also bring your A game to the table. You can't just network as a passive person who doesn't, demonstrate their value. Network with the intention of showing off how good you are at what you do. It doesn't mean you have to brag and boast, but you have to be active. So someone like Nigel in our group, he's starting to get better and better letting people know that he is, sort of this go-to guy for security, WordPress security, and now even more so with membership sites and tech. So the more he reminds people that he's doing that, and one way of reminding people is he's working with people like me, so I'm going to talk him up like I'm doing right now. There's a better chance that Nigel is going to get introduced. In fact, I believe Sue and Nigel are now doing some work together because I mentioned Nigel in one of my groups. So that's how these things work. It seems really, really simple, but this thing kind of, these things happen and they start stacking on top of each other over and over and over again, to the point where as you expand your network, a lot of the introductions you need, a lot of the affiliates you need to meet might come just through word of mouth referrals. You won't necessarily have to do some of these other steps I'm going to be suggesting, although you want to try everything. Quick message or quick look at the questions here. Nigel is just saying hello and thanks. You're welcome, Nigel, and keep up the good work. So definitely always make a point of staying in touch with your network. Here's one little thing that that I've been changing as of late, is I've been making a lot more concerted effort to network on Facebook and Skype and actually talk to my customers directly. I remember, I think I mentioned on the last webinar that I put my Skype ID and even my cell phone number right on my launch thank you page, right on the sales page as well. And I started getting more and more calls and getting more people connecting with me. But that's actually a better way to expand my network. Each and every person that you make yourself available to and that you actually build a personal connection with is opening your world to their entire potential network. And each and every relationship is built one connection at a time. So make a point of really connecting with people on Facebook. Invite your customers to friend you on Facebook. Say hello right on their wall. Share things about you, not just about your business, but about you as well. And that's going to increase your chances of getting introduced. But you're also going to stay on kind of top of mind for them. Another good way of recruiting affiliates is to, now when I say recruiting affiliates, this is after you have a product and a launch and a funnel, by the way. Okay, so remember, these are bonus webinars. This is assuming you've gone through all of the other Prod Create content. So I want to just kind of inject that little reminder here. But private groups and forums. So the most obvious one, Prod Create. You guys, there's the word guys, are going to find affiliates, partners, potential JV deals, whatever you want to call it, right in Prod Create. But you're also going to find in any of the other Skype rooms that you might be joining, or forums. A great forum that I recommend all the time, and it's on my blog and other places as well, and I constantly refer it, is the Dennis Becker's Earn 1K. That's a community that's been building for 7 years. It's a lot of online business owners. The NAMS group as well is like that. But when I first joined Earn 1K a day, as an example, I went in there really not knowing what to expect, and I just said hello to a few people. I actually, here's another little networking bonus tip. When I first joined Dennis's group, this was maybe a year into being a PLR vendor, so I had a bit of an experience. I had some products for sale, I had a membership for sale, but I wasn't necessarily a guru. Not like today, this amazing guru that I am. Hopefully you can relate to my guru-ness. But what I did was I went into Earn 1K a day, and my introduction post where you say hello to everybody, I did this funny little video where I got on camera and I made this message. It was a Happy New Year's thing. It happened to be the time I joined this forum. And I had my business partner, Ted, videotape me saying that this is the year we're all going to conquer our fears. And I want you to conquer your fears with me. And I'm going to start by overcoming my drastic fear of tobogganing. And so I tobogganed down this about 3.5 foot hill. And when I reached the bottom, I was just pumping my fist and screaming and cheering. And I posted that video as my way to introduce myself to the Earn 1K a day people. So is that in your comfort zone? Probably not, but nothing that's going to help you succeed in business ever is. So I wasn't necessarily comfortable posting that, but it was awesome. I got a ton of replies. People were laughing. And now suddenly everybody that was an active member of Earn 1K a day, they knew who I was if they didn't already. And many of them didn't know who I was. So now I'm on their radars. I started participating, answering questions, more importantly, asking questions in the main forum. And then once I did a little bit of that, it wasn't a lot, a couple weeks worth, maybe even less. Then I went over to his JV forum and started asking people to promote stuff for me. So that is a great way of doing it, is go into a community, go into a room. Could be the Prod Create Facebook group. You see people like Ellie posting a Dropbox alternative. That's a great way of getting people to know who he is, right? If you guys haven't seen that yet, go into the Facebook group and see it. Have some active participation, and then let people know that you've got a product for sale, that you've got a launch coming up. And if they can support you, great. Or if they can refer somebody that can support you, that would be greatly appreciated. Your chances of having somebody help you are going to go through the roof if you do that. So those first three, if you just do those, you'll get affiliates. I absolutely guarantee it. And that includes me, right? You're part of the Prod Create group. If you have a launch coming up, you've created a product under the Prod Create training system, then ask me, the person who taught you. I'll do whatever I can to help you get some affiliates. So, I mean, that's a good benefit in itself, because I've been building my network, including my affiliate network, for 4 years. So if you don't have 4 years invested into it, then I can probably help you. That's another secret. And you guys have already taken that first step, which is getting involved in this course. So another good way, and I've done this a little bit, but I've seen other people do it really, really well, is being an involved customer. Just before I actually explain this point, has anybody actually that's on the call right now done this, where basically what you do is you buy one or more offers from a vendor that you really respect, and you get on their radar by maybe asking a lot of questions, commenting on their blog, maybe providing some feedback or even a success story or a testimonial, so the vendor knows who you are. And then once you have products ready to go, you can actually ask that person to promote you because you're a customer. I know for sure for me that I'm far more likely to listen to you if you are a customer and you've been commenting on my blog posts, you've been providing constructive, positive criticism if there are problems. For example, you find a problem with our product and you're respectful and nice to our help desk staff, and you help us correct a bigger problem that may have prevented us getting hundreds of tickets. And then later on, you hit me up on Skype and we start chatting as friends. And then down the road, you ask me to promote something. Yeah, I'm going to look at your offer. I'm going to check out what you have. Far more than people that reply to my broadcasts, as an example. Maybe they've bought, let's say, a $9 PLR product, and they have almost an arrogant attitude saying, well, I'm one of your customers, and I've bought your product. I'd like you to promote this, please. Like, I've literally had those type of messages. Do you think I am really going to respond, or anybody's going to respond to somebody that does that? I mean, thank you for buying my product, but the agreement was closed. You pay the $9. I deliver the product. Nobody is indebted to you. That transaction is done. If you want me to promote something, let's warm me up a little bit here. You got to date me for a while. Has anybody I don't see any questions or comments coming in. Has anybody tried that method, or does anybody like the idea of that method? Can anybody think of a marketer or a business owner that they may be able to get in touch with now that they know this particular method? Just leave it in the box if you have a chance, and I'll move on. I see Kate saying she's done it. Carl's saying that's a great idea. And Ellie is saying it works. Ellie, is it Ellie? I keep forgetting. Ellie? It is Ellie. Okay, bam. Because it's spelled, to me, I almost want to say Eli, and then anyways, if you guys meet Ellie, make sure you say Ellie. And Chad's saying he can't say he's dated anyone to get them to sell for me. It was a metaphor, Chad, but I think you know what I mean. Yeah, so that's definitely something you want to try. And let's hit up Ellie. He said he's done it. I'd love to hear any tips you want to share about doing that. So, but that definitely is something you want to try. And it makes a lot of sense, right? If you have somebody that you respect, you admire, you follow them, and you think they might be a good fit, then go for it, right? I remember when I was at the Brendan Burchard event. Brendan Burchard's in the coaching and marketing. I don't want to call it an industry, but in that business world, he's got to have one of the biggest buyers lists out of anybody. And he talks about clients who just attended one of his seminars, but did a really good job, built a good funnel, got on his radar, and he promoted them. I can't imagine how many sales somebody like Brendan Burchard would send to you if you got on his radar properly. So being a customer can go a long, long way. Kate is saying that she told another PLR person that she tried their technique and made $250 in affiliate sales. There you go. I'd love to get that kind of feedback. It's just like, thanks for letting me know that I helped you. And Chad's also saying LinkedIn is a great way to make initial connection too. That's a really good point. I don't have anything about LinkedIn in this presentation. But I actually have used, this is another little bonus tip here. I've used LinkedIn in the past here's basically my LinkedIn model where I've made money. Um, Went to a live event. I actually had I was a sponsor, so I had a booth at an event where there was a bunch of personal development speakers. Because I had a booth, that kind of set me apart from just the regular attendee at the event. And so a lot of people who were attendees or other vendors came up to me, handed me their cards. We got to chat. One of them happened to be a really well-networked person. She was speaker, author, big audience, and all that. After the event, I found her on LinkedIn, reminded her that we had met at this event, and she accepted my friend request. Few back and forths on LinkedIn, and then I posted something where I had my Twitter feed integrated with my LinkedIn. Some social media experts may tell you not to do this. I do it, so whatever. I posted something on Twitter about a WordPress webinar I was happening. This is like 4+ years ago, but it happened to go into my LinkedIn feed, and this lady saw it and passed my information, or maybe it was an SEO thing, whatever the content was. She passed my information along to one of her friends who was dying to get SEO training. That opened the door for us to have a conversation. I introduced myself to this guy. I thanked her for the introduction, and it resulted in me closing a deal. I did a $1,500 in-person training session for this guy. Now, when you're a consultant and you don't have money coming in every day, that was a huge deal for me. So that was sort of my LinkedIn recruiting method. Was I basically used it to reinforce connections that I had made in person. They don't necessarily pay off overnight, and I can't tell you when they will pay off, but it's definitely worth doing. So try that. Thanks for the suggestion, Chad, but go above and beyond just, let's say Skype or email. If you meet somebody at an event, hit them up on Facebook, hit them up on LinkedIn, try the different networks. Somebody like that lady, it made more sense for me to connect with her on LinkedIn because she was a speaker and author and really more on the corporate side. And 4 years ago, she definitely wasn't spending as much time on Facebook as she probably is now. So good tip. All right, going back over here. Put the last 2 points on the slide, putting your offers in marketplaces. So when I mentioned before that I was doing a lot of Warrior Forum promotions. They're called Warrior Special Offers. If you are selling sort of marketing products, I don't want to call them make money online because I hate that term. But selling marketing products, it could be anything: how to get traffic, how to build a blog, these kind of things. You can post them in the Warrior Forum, the marketplace there. I don't know how good it is now since Freelancer took them over. I don't do them really anymore. I did one Warrior Special Offer recently, just more as an advertisement. But back then I did them all the time. This is back in 2010, 2011. And just like I mentioned earlier, by having those offers in the Warrior Forum, it gave me an audience that I didn't even realize existed. There was all these people that when I went to that live event, like I told you, they knew who I was. And they saw me as this expert because I was pumping out products. So it created this perceived authority in the market. What also created awareness in the affiliate community. This kind of goes part and parcel with the last point on the slide as well, but there are way more affiliates with people with lists that want to monetize those lists in the market than there are product creators. So this puts all of us in an advantage. When you're taking the time and the effort and the money to learn product creation, A, because you know it's the best way to develop assets for your business, but B, it's a great way to establish authority. And these people who have lists but don't have either the patience or the drive or desire to create products need something to promote. And if you create really, really good stuff, they'll promote you. So when I put my offers in places like the Warrior Forum or even just listing them on JVZoo, I had all kinds of people requesting to promote these things. This goes for ClickBank as well. Any place where you can really set up a funnel and there is a market or there's a marketplace of vendors, that's going to help you recruit affiliates. And so I had a place to get them onto my list, which I'm going to cover in a minute. But there were people I had no idea who they were that later on I found out there were these big time marketers with huge lists. I don't spend a lot of time in the affiliate world, or I didn't back then. I still don't really. So I didn't really know who the big players were, but they came and found me because I had enough offers up and running. And before I knew it, I had all kinds of people promoting offers and I'd never even met them before. Once they started promoting for me, I made a point of reaching out to them, connecting with them on Skype and Facebook and all these different places so that I could move my way up to those earlier points I talked about earlier. But just getting your stuff out there into marketplaces, I think for anybody that's doing products like me with PLR or different marketing type of products, JVZoo is a great platform for it. If you're doing something else, there are other marketplaces that are probably better for you. There's also Skype groups and Facebook groups, which I don't necessarily want to call them marketplaces, but they're places where affiliates hang out. So there's off the top of my head, I can think of at least 4 or 5 different Facebook groups that I'm a member of that I could go in there, and there may be a couple hundred to a couple thousand members who are all similar. They sell marketing type of products, and they may want to promote a PLR product. So because I'm a member, I can go and post and let them know that I've got this new launch coming up, and there you go. I've got affiliates for that launch.